Are you looking for the best approach to train your dog or maybe even your new puppy? Wondering how to start or how to even pick a trainer? I think it's great that you actually recognize that training is important. After all, the dog is having to adjust to a whole new human world. Now, unless we teach him or her what to expect, we could end up with a lifetime of frustrated humans and confused dogs. I mean, the two species can live in harmony, but it actually takes a little bit of understanding on both sides. That's where I come in. Michele here with How to Train a Dream Dog. There are actually a lot of different ways to train a dog, and training concepts have really changed over the years. What used to be a standard way of training has actually now evolved to different methods that are more effective and more in line with how dogs think and learn. With more research into the canine brain, we really are finding new and better ways to connect with our dogs in a way that works best for both of them. All right, I believe that dogs learn best from positive reinforcement. Now, I believe that through this method, you can have a dog who has a stronger relationship with the family members, and the dog has a skill set that is long-lasting. Positive reinforcement essentially means that you're teaching your dog what you want him or her to know without using fear or force or punishment. It involves using rewards to send a message to the dog that they did a good job. This actually encourages the dog to do it again and again, and learn the cues or words that you need to use to ask for that behavior a lot faster. Now, because the dog has received such good things when he's done this behavior in the past, he is likely to do it again and again, even without you asking, and definitely when you do ask. I'm going to give you an example. Now, my dog Pickles is very excited when new people come to the door. And if I didn't do any of the training, he would naturally jump all over them. Now, I didn't think my guests really wanted that, and even if they don't care, I don't want it. So I've actually taught Pickles to sit when new people come in. And once he's sitting, and then I encourage my guests to interact with him. Now, we've actually worked on this so much that Pickles knows to naturally sit anytime someone new is in the house, or he'd like some attention from them. Who am I kidding? He will sit anytime he wants attention, even from me. This is now his way of saying, please give me some lovin's, Mom. Now, I think you'll admit it's a great behavior. This is an example of positive reinforcement. Pickles sits, he gets attention, which is rewarding to him, and then we're both happy. There was no fear, no intimidation, no punishment for the jumping. If I had used negative reinforcement, I might have said, no jumping, bad dog, down, off, with an angry, harsh tone. If I was using this method, I might even use a slip lead with a choke chain and hold it tightly so that if he jumps, he experiences discomfort. I do not believe that's an effective way of teaching. It doesn't teach Pickles what I want him to do instead, and it's going to cause him to feel some pain too. Remember that jumping is a dog's natural expression of excitement. That just feels so wrong to me, to punish the dog for a natural behavior when I haven't taught him what I'd prefer him to do instead. Now, when first teaching this skill, I had to capture the moment that he was doing the right thing. Or if he didn't do it automatically, I would use an incentive to lure him into the position. And then once he did the right thing, sitting there, he got a treat. I used the treats at first because dogs are naturally food motivated. Treats are a really strong and memorable message that good things happen when this particular action happens. Now, I could have tried to teach the same behavior with attention or praise, but I think it would have taken a lot longer and it may not have even worked at all. So for him, we started with treats. And over time, this behavior has become very automatic now. Much like me using the blinker in a car. Pickles has muscle memory for sitting when he's excited or when he'd like some attention. Pickles does a lot of sitting. He's got a deep well for attention. Now that the behavior is so well established, I don't have to give him treats every time he sits. He gets petting and eye contact, and of course, I usually talk to him because he's just too cute not to have a conversation with. Pickles thinks all these things are plenty rewarding. Now, if you'll notice what I said, I started out this skill using treats, but now I don't use them anymore, or at least not as frequently. I still definitely use treats for other skills, especially if they're harder or require a lot of self-control. Now, in my online course, I have a whole lesson on when and where to wean off those treats. I caution you not to think of the treats as something that you want to do away with. If you have a job, you probably expect that paycheck at the end of the week, right? It's important to pay our dogs for a job well done as well. Now you can use pieces of kibble for some of those skills that require a lot of treats, and save the higher treats or the higher calorie treats for the training sessions that have tougher tasks that you're working on. That helps to make sure your dog isn't overfed. Can I go on a rant for just a moment here? Have you seen those popular videos on social media of the owners shaming the dog for when they've done something naughty? Now I know, they are supposed to be funny, but to a trainer's brain, and even to your dog, they really aren't funny at all. Now I could go on and on about these videos, and someday I probably will, but for now, I just want to make a few points. The dog doesn't know that what he's doing is wrong. If he's looking like he's sorry or he's guilty, he's simply reacting to the tone and the force of your body language. He's actually offering up an appeasement behavior to try to get you to calm down. He doesn't even know why you're saying what you're saying or why you're acting the way you are. Contrary to what you think he may know, it's just that, what you think, not what's actually happening. Now my second point is that owners misread the dog's body language and humanize his emotions. This dog is not showing shame. He's showing fear and confusion, again, because of the owner's body language. My third point is that it's the human's fault that the dog did something wrong. Now, if you leave a dog alone and he gets into the trash or the toilet paper or the pantry, that's on the human, not the dog. The dog was acting like a dog who likes to hunt and forage and scavenge. Now, if you want to keep your home protected from these types of activities, use a crate so the dog will rest and relax when you're gone. Now, you can't blame a dog for being curious. That's a natural behavior. Okay, rant over, but now I want you to look at those videos just a little bit differently when you see them. You might have even heard of some techniques or tools that promise to immediately fix whatever problem you're having. Well, examples of common techniques that are not positive would be an e-collar or a prong collar, pennies in a can, and some others. I don't even like the can of air that some people use. Now, I used to mention it as a very last resort, but this is an example of how my training techniques have actually changed over time. Much like a teacher who continually finds new ways of teaching that work well for the students. Now, I believe that these techniques are not effective nor beneficial for the dog. There are actually varying schools of thoughts on whether they harm the dog. But either way, I don't want to think that they are necessary when other methods exist that are just as effective and contribute to the human-canine bond. These scary methods use fear or intimidation. They're supposedly supposed to be teaching the dog, but it's really just creating fear. Some dogs are naturally more sound sensitive than others, and dogs have a much better sense of hearing than we do. Can you imagine how that dog is going to react to strong sounds if the owner uses noise as punishment? Now, you're going to have a dog who struggles with things like vacuum cleaners, garbage trucks, or maybe even your blender. It's not necessary to teach in this way. Equally effective, safer, and more humane alternatives exist, and they've been proven to be successful. Now, on one final note about a popular theory that you might have seen on TV, the dominance theory in dogs has actually been debunked. The old school alpha concept came from an inaccurate, outdated dominant theory. This was based on an observation of adult wolves from different families in captivity. They were forced to live in an unnatural close proximity to one another. Research has been shown that this theory actually has no basis in training concepts. This video here can give you more information on why this theory is not applicable to your family pet and how best to train your dog. Now, before we wrap up today, I want to go over one final concept that comes up a lot in my Facebook group, Puppy Training with Michele Lennon. You can join that group too. The link is below in the description. Also, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you get notified next time a great video like this one becomes available. All right, our final topic for today's video is all about clicker training. I get a lot of questions about clicker training like this one. Here's the thing about clicker training. There's nothing inherently positive or negative about the clicker. To the dog, it's just another noise, like the ice maker dropping ice or the sound of heat turning on. The thing that makes clicker training effective is when you do a process called loading, or loading the clicker. This means that you associate the clicker with good things, like traits. You associate the clicker to the traits so much that the sound takes on a meaning all of its own. Here's an example. What's this sound like? Do you recognize that sound? Is your mouth watering? Now, there's nothing about that sound itself that means good things. It's because that sound is usually followed by good things that most people have a positive feeling about when they hear it. Now, I'd certainly know that sound anywhere. I absolutely love ice cream. That ice cream truck can come down my road anytime. That's just like the clicker for your dog. Now, once you've established the clicker as a positive thing, you want to think of it like taking a picture at the exact moment your dog is doing the behavior you want to see more of. The clicker is a great tool when the timing has to be precise. Like if you're wanting a very specific action from your dog to be repeated over and over. I actually use the clicker with all my dogs, but it takes some practice, and you might want to make sure all family members are on the same page when you use it. Now, it's not a bad tool for your family pet. It's not always necessary either. Now, if you do enroll in my online course at the pro level, we'd be happy to help you embark on the clicker training with your puppy. We want to make sure that you're not spoiling the clicker by messing up the timing when you use it. We've actually seen several students use it incorrectly, and it quickly becomes a negative instead of a positive for the dog. Okay, did you learn a few things about positive reinforcement training? That's the great thing about education, including dog training. There's always something new to learn. So stick with me, and I'll be sure to keep you updated on the latest science and research into how dogs think and learn and how to best train them. In the comments below, tell me how you reward your dog when he or she has done a good job.